How
All
you
right,
guys
well,
doing?
welcome people. Hey, Mark, thanks for joining. Talk about
Do,
next
do,
gen
do,
tools, Gemini Notebook today.
do.
AI Johnny is like exciting episode. Gemini today is Google I/O big day, and they've been releasing things like crazy. Hey, Mark, and I
Hey,
see, I
when
see,
when is that Google I/O starting?
1 o'clock Pacific time. Actually, no,
So
one
it's
o'clock
4 o'clock
Eastern.
our
1 o'clock.
time,
1 o'clock Eastern time.
but right after
Yes,
the show.
right after the show. So it's
So how do I get it? Do I have to sign up to watch it?
Yeah, there's a registration if you're a developer. It's free, but just go to io.google. Well,
io.google.com.
yep, we have a plug on it. All right, guys, here we go.
Whew.
Welcome to Season 12 of Airhead Institute, your 45-minute AI power-up at noon Eastern, and a massive happy one-year anniversary to all our Airheads. This month, we're broadcasting live across all the socials and Zoom. If you're new here, join our free AI community to grow alongside other curious minds, and give your kids a head start by enrolling them in the Airhead after-school program. Here's May's weekly lineup. Mondays, we move past syntax and build apps entirely through natural language in Vibe Coding Bootcamp. Tuesdays, we explore accessible, cutting-edge apps for rapid learning and content creation in the next-gen AI tools. Wednesdays, we track the massive capital flowing into AI and ask the trillion-dollar questions in the AI bubble. Thursdays, we profile the famous CEOs driving the revolution and analyze their power in AI architects of the future. Fridays, we push the boundaries of physics to simulate the past and predict the future in AI time travel. We're making AI practical, powerful, and accessible for everyone. No tech background? No problem. Whether you're a student, professional, or lifelong learner, just show up. Guided by your hosts, AI Junior and AI Johnny, we're keeping it bold, brainy, and built for real-world impact. AI won't take your job, but someone who knows how to use AI will. Don't get left behind.
Hello, people. Welcome to Season 12 of Airhead Institute. Today is Google I/O Day, and it's Episode 3 of the Next Gen AI Tools. I'm AI Johnny. So what if your AI just stopped hallucinating altogether? The era of goldfish memory chatbots is behind us now. Today, we give your workflow a bulletproof brain. Gemini projects. Drop 2 million tokens into one context window and ground the model strictly to your facts. No making things up, just instant, flawless synthesis. And if you want that AI that perfectly mirrors your business, now's the time to lean in. I'm going to turn it over to AI Junior. I caught him at 2 a.m. this morning, forcing this model to translate tax returns into pirate slang. He's heavily caffeinated and the only one who actually understands what happens in the tax world of 2026. So AI Junior,
AI Johnny, when you find a new feature, you have to stress test the system prompt. Welcome, everyone. This is an immersive class. You may not understand everything we say here today, but stick with us daily and you'll be fluent in the AI in no time. Since this is an interactive and immersive class, if you're on Zoom, unmute your mic and ask your questions in real time. If you're on socials, there's a 30-second delay, so type your questions early. We're not ignoring you. Today, we are in week 3 of our next-gen AI tools, focusing on accessible tools with massive aha moments. Even though I should have said aha moments, even though the schedule says we're talking about Gemini notebooks, we're actually putting the notebooks itself inside Gemini to actually see what's going on. We can actually attach it, so it's actually pretty cool. AI Johnny, what say you about before we get to the software?
well, don't touch that prompt window just yet. Let's go straight to our official large language model of the Institute, Google Gemini. We like to consult our AI colleagues before we teach you about them. That's our AI first policy here at Airhead Institute. So we asked our LLM of the Institute, Gemini, a very specific question. What is the single most mind-blowing fact about Gemini projects right now?
Yeah, so AI Johnny, you know what? There's so many things changing. I'm so excited. I don't even know what to even start with. But what we're gonna do is we're just gonna jump straight in because Gemini, Google's I/O, they're updating so many things. So the most fascinating thing is that the on the left hand side, it's a very, very, very clean, simple interface. They brought it to the front. That will actually just drop this morning. So AI Johnny, let's go ahead and check it out.
We're looking at the new Google interface.
Yeah, they changed everything. Like this morning, just refreshed and boom, because it's Google I/O Day. I went to Via Flow this morning. I went to Flow this morning. Everything changed. I went to another Google product. Everything's changing. So I can't wait for all the extra announcements that's gonna happen at 1 o'clock. Hey,
That's
Adrian.
just like Google. Can you remember the days when Google first came out and you had to choose between Google and Yahoo and Alta Vista and a couple of others?
Yeah,
But you'd go to Google and it would just be the word Google and a prompt for you to search to Google something, right? But the
exactly.
Google prompt, their logo, changed every single day.
Yeah, absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Hey, Adrian, thanks for joining. All right, Johnny. So here's the thing. On the left-hand side, they've upgraded all this. You see a nice little blue hue. I love what they're actually doing. So they even have little things with agents. I even saw some agents and Flow. There's so many new things. I can't wait for the developer IO conference at 1 o'clock Eastern time. So yeah, Johnny, let's check this out. If I go on the left-hand side, I see notebooks here, and it says "Talk Like a Pirate." I have a "Talk Like a Pirate" notebook, so I'm gonna click on that "Talk Like a Pirate" notebook. And if you notice, it's not really anything special. It's just like a new chat. I'm just gonna go ahead and, yeah, Jenny, what question should I ask?
I mighty
Just regular
I'd ask
English,
you to,
regular question. Any question you'd normally ask a large language model. Doesn't matter.
what is 17 times 17 times 17?
What is 17? Let me make this font a little bigger for you guys, and let me move the side
Or
panel
you
out
could
the way.
ask it, what is 17 cubed? Or you could ask, what is the cubic root of 4913?
17 times 17. All right, so we know what is 17 times 17 times 17. I'm going to send it, and what's going to happen is it's going to analyze, it's going to do its normal thinking, and it's actually doing its normal, thinking. It's going to come back with an answer, and look what's going to happen. It says, "Arr, matey, if you reckon up the ship's inventory, here's the plain truth of it. The captain's calculation, 17 times 17 and 17 is 4913. That's exactly 4913 shiny doubloons and the treasure bob. I don't talk like a pirate, but the point is, yeah, Johnny, I just opened up a new chat and I just asked you a simple question and actually I started answering to me and talking like a pirate. Isn't that strange?
I think I might start doing all my correspondence as a pirate. It's
Yeah,
catchy.
you're absolutely right. The thing is, this is so interesting that I want people to actually understand the power of these notebooks. So, yeah, Johnny, before we actually get into anything further, let's hit the word of the day.
Word of the day today is grounding. You used grounding yesterday and you used it today, and the contexts are somewhat similar but different. So I'm really looking forward to this word of the day.
Definitely.
Grounding is simply tying the AI's brain to a specific set of facts or documents so it doesn't make things up. It's like giving an open book test to a genius student. They already know how to read, but you are forcing them to use the textbook you handed them.
Exactly. So let's actually get a little bit more in technical terms. Grounding restricts the inference phase of the large language model. So instead of pulling from vast, random, unpredictable latent space of its trained data, it prioritizes the exact tokens that you provide in the workspace. Doesn't matter if it's an image you're generating or if it's a notebook, it doesn't really matter. It says that you've attached this thing. I'm going to ground my knowledge base in that thing. So if you provide a picture, you've now just grounded the large language model in using that picture. If you ground it in a textbook, it's going to ground it in that textbook. So what that means is that it's going to say this information that you gave to me is the most important piece of information. Let me refer to it first. That's what grounding really means. So it doesn't hallucinate or it doesn't deviate from its statistical likelihood of predicting something else. Does that make sense, AI Johnny?
What's the difference between grounding to your data set or fine tuning?
Great question. So grounding is only happening at inference time. So let's actually make sure that everybody. Great question, yeah, Johnny. So let's actually make sure that people understand the terms first. So Inference is when I actually ask the AI. So in this example, I actually asked the AI, what is 17 times 17 times 17? The moment I actually hit the button to send, when I hit the send button, it actually does some calculation. That calculation is called inference. Okay. Now, because that calculation is called inference, it's actually trying to connect the dots of its training time based on its training data. So the training data is actually something that's actually done with a lot of data over a huge course of time. So what happened is when you actually fine tune, you're actually giving it new training data. So when you ground it, it's two different phases of teaching information. So it's a great question, yeah, Johnny. So grounding is inference time, setting that data. Fine tuning is setting the data at training time. So that means you need to create the model ahead of time with the actual data versus now at inference time, you're not training the data, you're just actually putting it there. Does that make sense?
It does.
So
So, so inference is it happens first.
No, so the phase is the following. So and what's funny is we have someone in the stream is actually says, "Dear Lobender, I write to tell you I'm heading out to capture your doubloons. Yar, truly Captain Badass." Love that comment from the live stream. Yeah, so yeah, Johnny. So let me get a little bit nitty-gritty here. So what you're asking great questions is, if say for example, I need to be able to train a model. So if I need to train a model, the first thing I'll do is I'll gather a whole bunch of sentences. Let's say, for example, I want to teach it. Adrian actually says, "Is RAG using a form of grounding?" It is. That great question, Adrian. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the following. So let's say, for example, I want to be able to train a large language model. And the only thing I wanted to do is to talk like a pirate. So what I would do is I would actually let's use a very small data set. Let's pretend that we only know there's 5 sentences we need to train. We would give it one example. We'd say, hey, always start your sentence with R. So I'd give it 5 sentences with R, 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 R. And it's going to say, hey, for some reason, your sentences always starts with R. Then the last word, all the sentences seems to be ending with matey. So if you say R, something, 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 matey, the large language model is now going to be trained to say statistically, all sentences start with R when you talk like a pirate. Statistically, all sentences end with matey. So therefore, I can fill anything in the middle, and that will be talking like a pirate. So at training time, I would take those 5 sentences, I will give it to the actual large language model when I'm training it, and then I've now baked that large model and stuck it in time with that data set. So that data set now has only just those 5 sentences. And because it's stuck in time, I can say, can you talk like a parrot 100 times? When I ask it to talk like a parrot about, say, for example, what's 17 times 17 times 17, it knows statistically to start with R and end with matey. And then that's what actually happens at inference time. It says, oh, the calculation is 17 times 17 times 17. Oh, that is R, that is 4,913 matey. And then it gives you the result. So inference time is when it's doing the calculation based on its training data. Does that make sense?
It does. I remember when my father turned 80 years old, he walked around for a year talking like a pirate, but he wouldn't say R, he would say I. He would say every time you saw him for that whole year, he'd go, "Aye, matey."
Yeah, that's one. You know, he updated his data set. So now
You
Adrian
missed it,
actually.
brother. I'm 80.
Oh, ah, ha, 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 ha. Funny. All right. So Adrian actually asked a really great question. The question was, is RAG, let me bring it back in the chat, is RAG a form of grounding? And the answer is yes. Because what's happening is the model's already trained. And what grounding is, it actually goes out and fetches that piece of relevant data. The difference is that a RAG system does it behind the scenes. And it actually takes that reference data and actually brings it into the actual inference time. Versus when we're doing the attach button, we're saying attach this picture, we're saying attach this document, we're saying ground it in this document or ground it in this picture or ground it in this piece of content. Hopefully that answers the question, Adrian. So you're absolutely right. RAG is a form of Grounding. Skills also are a form of grounding. You're actually giving it additional piece of information that it needs to add as facts. So that's exactly the same thing. So AI John is asking, and agent is asking the exact. I love when these cylinders are firing because all these things are exactly the same thing. So yes. So AI Johnny, let's just to recap for all our streamers who are just joining. Let's read the definition again one more time for grounding so everybody's on the same
Okay.
page.
Grounding is typing the AI's brain. Oh, I'm sorry. It's not tying. It's tying the AI's brain to a specific set of facts or documents so it doesn't make things up. It's like giving an open book test to a genius student. They already know how to read, but you are forcing them to only use the textbook you handed them, which means you're limiting their speech and their answers to a specific, very small, very specific, very qualified data set.
Exactly.
Right?
So AI Johnny, when you actually want to use a image, a TTI generator, and you said, I wanted to use this specific drawing that my kid made, if I
Mm-hmm.
hit the attach button, I'm actually grounding that prompt to say only use this image as my reference image, prioritize that piece of information as the highest statistically. You can then go off and look for additional information, but use my image as the priority, which is why you can actually have a reference image that keeps the same thing consistent. That's grounding.
So wait a minute. So when I prompt, I attach things. Every time I attach anything, I'm grounding, right? If I attach a
You are
contract, I say mirror this contract. If I attach an image, say mirror this image. Attach a song and say keep this beat or whatever, I'm grounding. If I contextually in my prompt say, hey, I want this image to look like my kid's drawing, but I want it to have the vibe of the Mona Lisa, but I don't attach the Mona Lisa. Is my contextual narrative also grounding?
no, so that's unfortunately not grounding. So that is actually using the attention mechanism. So then it's focusing on the word Mona Lisa, looking up in its history, and then actually going to figure out because there may be a different era of Mona Lisa. There may be the modern version of Mona Lisa in its memory. It may be the another version of Mona Lisa. So what happens is it's going to statistically make a determination which one to actually pull. So you're not grounding it in a
No, I get
specific
it. I
one.
get it. You're not locked in. It's going off to its vast data set, and it's going to grab all kinds of Mona Lisas. If
Yep,
you had put up a Mona Lisa, you'd be grounding. But by just saying Mona Lisa, it's like, okay, go hit the history of all mankind and do your thing. I get it.
yep,
And so grounding is a very useful thing because it personalizes it.
yep.
And instead of just telling me do my homework, you're saying, hey, this is what you're kind of piecing the homework together in your head, and you're just asking for it to sort of be the tape. I know
Exactly.
that's a metaphor, but it's a
No,
metaphor nonetheless.
it's great. So let's go back over to Gemini, this talk like a pirate. And no, let's see what we actually did. So we all know that we can attach images, we can attach files and all those things. Those are the boring parts. What I want to make you guys know is that in a talk like a pirate, I actually have this thing on the left hand side called a notebook. So this notebook here, I can hit the plus button, and if I hit the plus button, I'm going to say name my notebook. So think of a notebook as a actual notebook. Think of it as a book that you want it to be able to have all your thoughts about a specific topic. Now, here's the tip. The tip is try to make the notebook very specific. So don't just say, oh, this is for my whole entire company, because if you make it for the whole entire company, it's going to have way too much information and it's eventually just not going to be worth it. So you may want to say, hey, this is for, say, for example, my marketing department for my company. So you'd actually say, I wanted this for to be AI Jenny, we're not going to talk like a parrot. Give me something else to always respond as, just something silly. Um, you
Pee
know,
Wee Herman.
let's use something else. I like that. You know what? Let's do always talk about mangoes. Always it's my mango. It's my mango. It's my mango notebook. All right. So we're gonna mango. And here's the thing. Now, because it's a mango notebook, I'm gonna go up here and hit the three dots and say notebook settings. I'm gonna say here, these are the instructions that I always tell it in tone to use. So I said, I sell mangoes for a living. For a living. Always help me to sell more and think in terms of marketing more mangoes. Can't spell, but it's okay. To
Take a deep
people.
breath.
That's okay. All right. So here's what we're gonna do, guys. So because we're actually we're doing that, right? It's always gonna think about selling more mangoes, right? Always, no matter what. This is always, and you can also say, I live in, let's say for example, Florida. What you're doing is you're grounding it here. You can say, I get mangoes for $1 from each from my tree. Okay, that's it. You can put anything you want in here. Not only that, you could attach documents. So you can actually attach documents and say, I want to attach a source. So let's pretend I can attach a document that is a living, breathing document. Update it. You can even add links. You can add a URL and say, hey, I want to add a website. So you can add websites. You can add anything you want to ground it. So by doing that, we're not going to do anything with the mangoes here, but yeah, Johnny, this is the beautiful part now about the notebook. Because I'm in a Mango notebook, right? I can ask a question. Be like, say like, I want to sell more mangoes in the summer. What should I do? Now notice I didn't tell how much I sold, how much I pay for mangoes. It doesn't know anything, but it knows that I get mangoes from my tree. It knows that I get them for $1, and it knows already that this notebook is for just helping me to market. So I didn't have to type any of that information. That information is already known in the notebook. So it says, hey, as your official mango notebook, I'm ready to help you move that inventory. Summer, Florida peak. See, it already knows that I'm in Florida. I never had to tell it I was in Florida. It understands that Florida's peak is mango. People are craving them. Look at this. It also says, since your base cost is $1 per mango right off the tree, you have fantastic profit margins. So the beautiful part is it remembers that I can do Facebook and those things. Now check this out here, Johnny. This is the best part about a notebook. If I go, say, for example, to the following, if I go back, I now have on my left hand side, I have my mango notebook. And in my mango notebook, it says, I had a conversation today about selling mangoes in the summer. Let's pretend, for argument's sake, I said, hey, you know what? 6 months went by and I no longer care about selling mangoes. And I say, I'm thinking about expanding to oranges. What can I do? Now, it will take all the information that I know about my mango business from my mango notebook, and I say, I'm thinking about expanding to oranges. What can I do? Because I'm in the same notebook, it's actually understanding all the conversations that I've ever had in this notebook about my marketing that worked for mangoes, everything. So if 6 months have gone by and I've spoken about mangoes and I've optimized my thing, it knows what works, and I don't have to tell that all that information again. So the beautiful part is to anything I can go into that notebook. So far, so good. So I can just go into the notebook and start talking as long as it's related to the notebook that I've built. I can always ask questions about that notebook. So I can just bring in that resource at any point in time and grow my conversation. And I don't need to pass all that information again. Does that make sense, yeah, Johnny?
I'm trying to think of a real world application, and I'm hoping you'll get into one.
Oh, yeah. So all the time. So Airhead for the season 12, all our shows itself for season 12 are in a notebook. So it knows yesterday's episode, it knows last week's episode, it knows the week, it knows all the details. So I don't have to keep telling it over and over and over what the episodes is for the entire month. I don't have to tell it all that. It already knows it. It already knows what we did.
So notebooks becomes your new hard drive tree structure. You're going to
Correct.
upload you're going to upload every rundown, every asset into your season 12 notebook.
No. Backwards. You just tell it that I'm running season 12. Here's my master plan. Give me episode 1. Give me episode 2. Give me episode 3. I don't have to
How
tell
will
it
it know
again.
episode 1 if you haven't grounded last week's episode? How will it know
So
how to write an episode?
So that's the beautiful part about it. You can actually attach the source of a master plan and say, hey, this is my season. So if you go here, let me show you again. I can add a source and I can say to this mango, obviously mangoes aren't the episode, but I could attach a source of document and say, hey, this is my schedule for the entire month. And by attaching that document, I can now go in and have a conversation with a notebook and say, tell me what the show is going to look like for next week Thursday, next week Friday. It will generate it for me. And the beautiful part about this is if I come back to the notebook in 2 weeks, I can ask historical questions and says, hey, you generated a show for me 2 weeks ago. What did we do again? And you can actually go
I
ahead
get
and
it. So it's the new but in Gemini, you could do like previous conversations, right?
correct.
But instead of having it just sort of haphazardly tracking your conversations, like anytime you say new chat, you're starting a new one, the old one's over. I don't go back to my old conversations very often, but I would if they were named and I would if they were notebooks. So is
Yes.
this their opportunity? Because I get really mad. Sometimes I have long conversations asking to do stuff. It answered it right. This document belongs in the correspondent that I'm about to write. I get called out to capture an escaped horse. I come back. I forget what I was working on. A week later, I'm like, I already asked it this, and it already answered me. And I don't want to take the time to rewrite that long prompt. I just want to go find it. So sometimes I find myself just going through, reading conversation for conversation for conversation, trying to find it. And if I was organized, I would have immediately put that into a notebook. Can I be in a conversation and tell Gemini, hey, this conversation, move it all to a notebook and make one up on the fly?
AI Johnny, it's like you read my mind. So here's two ways to do things in a notebook. Let's pretend for argument's sake, and I'm going to show you guys something. Let's say, for example, argument's sake, that if you notice here, I've had many different conversations here, right? So if you see here, let's say, for example, we wanted to do, say, for example, this, watch, where to watch 24 series. Now, this was just our plain conversation, right? I like the series 24. I want to be able to watch it. And if I actually click on it, I have the option here to add it to a notebook. So I can go back to my old previous conversations and add that to a notebook. So it's going to ask me what notebook would you like to add to. I can go add it to whatever. Now, here's the second best way to actually do something. Yeah, Johnny, this one's going to blow your mind. Let's pretend that I want to reference the notebook, but I don't want this conversation to be in the notebook. So here's the thing. Let's say, for example, I want to talk about mangoes, but I'm brainstorming ideas, but I don't want it to be in the notebook. So check this out, AI Johnny. Let's say, for example, I go out to a new chat. This is not in a notebook, brand new chat. This plus button here, if I hit it, it actually says I want to add and reference a notebook. So I can say I want to reference the Mango notebook, and I say add. So now what this conversation is not in the notebook, but it's referencing the Mango notebook. Let's pretend for argument's sake, let's do something bad. I want to be the cartel of mangoes in Florida. What can I do? Okay. Now, here's what's happening. I'm referencing in this brand new chat my Mango notebook. So it knows everything I've ever spoken about Mango, my dollar, my whatever. It knows everything. But because this conversation is a little bit testy, I don't want to remember that I'm in a cartel. So I can actually say submit. It's going to reference and ground my knowledge of the whole entire notebook, and I could ask it generically, and it's gonna say, "Hey, define the core question." It's gonna attach the Mango notebook. It's gonna look at where I'm in Florida, every conversation I've ever had, and if it gives me a great answer, I will eventually add this conversation to the notebook. But for now, I'm just brainstorming. I don't want this to be part of my data set. Does that make sense? Yeah, Johnny?
It does. So the software that I use that most resembles this is not AI at all. I have a thing that I used for many years called Evernote. It was just a note-taking platform. It had a great search capability. Everything that I ever typed down, somebody said take a note. Somebody said give me a phone number. Somebody said, if I saw a great trivia question, great joke, great recipe, it always made it into Evernote. Evernote made me angry one day because I couldn't log in or something. So I went to ClickUp. ClickUp is also a kind of a note taker thing. It's tree based. You can set up projects within it, and underneath that, you can have boards and folders and all that stuff. What I'd really like to do is have AI or an AI, agentic AI, open up my clipbooks, open up my Evernote, take every single piece of data from every single ClickUp board and every single Evernote note, organize it, and jam those things into notebooks. That
Yeah.
would be cool.
Yeah, you'll
How
be
soon
able to
can you have that done for me?
yeah, I'm sure you'll be able to get after Google I/O today. They'll have an agent. By the way, I see agents all over the place, guys. Guys, I'm so excited. I don't even want to like deviate too much, but there are so many agents buttons I've seen in Google that I'm so excited. I see an agent inside Flow, and that's just bizarre to me. It's like agent inside Flow. What are they gonna announce? So let me yeah, Johnny. If I go to Flow, right, and inside a new project. If you notice, Flow already looks very different. You'll see on the left-hand side, they even have characters. So if you see here, they have characters, but down at the bottom here, AI Johnny, they have agent inside Flow. Now, the button doesn't work yet, right? But they're going to enable the button probably soon, maybe the next few minutes or few hours or something, but they have an agent button inside Flow. So I cannot imagine. And if you see characters, they have now characters that you can build characters and reuse them inside Flow, which is amazing. So I can't wait for Google I/O to actually have an announcement today at 1 p.m. Eastern time. With that being said, yeah, Johnny, let's actually go to the killer features.
The killer features today. Was that temporary attachment?
Yes,
You can
sir.
attach a massive data set to a single prompt for a one-off task without permanently saving it to your workspace. Seems like
That's
a
ex-
clean way to do it.
That's exactly what I just showed you guys a while ago. If I wanted to be a cartel, I'm attaching the notebook temporarily. I don't want it to remember that you don't want to, have evidence that you ever wrote down that you wanted to be a cartel, but you want to attach it as a notebook reference.
So the massive data set that we're talking about is the notebook.
Correct.
Massive capacity with Gemini Advanced. What is that? The context window is huge. You can drop in entire books, and the model won't forget the beginning by the time it reads the end. So Gemini now has the largest context window of all the cousins.
Unfortunately, no, it's a Chinese model out, has 2 million context window. Gemini has a 1 million context window. They do say sometimes it's a 2 million context window. I don't buy it, but
1 million tokens or
one
1 million characters?
1 million tokens. Yeah. So yeah, no, because they're doing a RAG-based system, that's what Notebook LLM is really doing. It's a notebook, it's a RAG-based system. And because it's a RAG-based system, you can throw in gigabytes and terabytes of data in, and it's actually organizing your stuff based on a RAG system, a retrieval augmented generation system.
Custom instructions, you can give it a seed instruction like our pirate example. So every piece of output strictly adheres to the required format or brand voice. I'm still a little fuzzy on why to do that in and it's not a notebook. It's you just chose pirate. I mean, I could always do that in a prompt, but I'd have to type it out. So I guess what I'm doing is I'm saving myself the prompt.
The difference is you get consistency. So let's say, for example, you are running a company and you're in the marketing department. The marketing department has a very
Mm.
different way of speaking than if you're into the legal department. If you're in the legal department, you have to put all the legalese and jargon that you need to do. So your output is going to be a little bit different. Let's say, for example, you are in sales, right? And if you're in the engineering, you may actually use a little bit more technical terms, but if you're in sales, you may not want to use any technical terms. You want to strip out all the technical terms and speak
Yeah.
at a level of certain things. So you can contextually set the notebook to a specific thing. Again, don't get too broad. Once you start playing around with it, you're gonna find a natural use for it.
No,
I've
I get it. I get it. I get it. When companies have these specifications about their, color and the shade of blue that they use on logos and their look and feel and words that you can say or must say, words you can't say. I have a buddy that works for Coke. If he says Pepsi, he gets fired. If he's ever seen drinking a Pepsi, he gets fired.
Yeah.
But when he writes stuff, there's certain things he cannot say in this context. But if you have what are we calling this when we bring in the pirate example? It's not a notebook. What is it?
When you say we bring in
Oh, when you're saying speak like a pirate,
oh
those
is
5 sentences? Where did they get stored in?
So it gets stored technically in a system instruction. So the system instruction overwrites the actual instructions at the prompt. So my user prompt itself goes in second, but the system instructions itself goes in first to override the actual regular prompt.
Don't you see you and I having thousands of these system instructions over time and
Oh,
hundreds, maybe thousands of notebooks?
always, always, always. I think right now I have like 14 notebooks or something like that all over the place. So I've been
Can
using
you have
notebooks.
notebooks within notebooks?
No, no notebooks within notebooks. No nested structures. But that would be a good idea though. So AI Johnny, let's actually get
It's coming.
yeah, let's actually get to well, let's go pricing really quickly. We know Google
Yeah.
actually let me do this one. We know Google actually gives you free tiers, and if you actually need the powerhouse is about $200 plus. That's Gemini Ultra. It is worth it because right now the price of tokens are skyrocketing, guys. So we expect that they're gonna announce a new model today. It might be Gemini 3.2 Flash, or it might be Gemini 3.5. There's rumored to actually raise the prices, so we'll actually see what happens. But again, you can use always the free version, but use the all you can eat package as much as you can because they're not coming. They're not. These prices are never going to happen again. Let's go into the deeper dive, AI Johnny.
Before we do that, I noticed earlier when you were in Gemini, it said in the upper left, Gemini Pro.
Yep.
What version is that? Is that the
Yeah.
Ultra?
Yeah, so just to let you know, these are the models, right? So right now, I can talk to it in either Gemini 3.1 Flashlight, which is I hate to use these words, but it's the best way I can actually explain it. This is the stupid version. This is the okay version, and it's the advanced version. So here's the better way to actually say it. I have a better way. This is the college professor. This is the college student. This is the high school student. The difference is you get a trade off. You get speed here, quick answers, not much thinking. Here, you get a lot of thinking, but it takes a very long time to respond. If most of the things that you're asking doesn't require calculations or really deep thinking, Flash is perfectly okay for generalization. Flashlight actually for basic stuff, just asking about the weather and give you news and stuff, not really complex things. Flashlight is okay, but the Pro is where it takes the longest and it actually takes a while to actually think, and you have thinking level here. That thinking level can either be standard, extended, or deep think. That's what it is, yeah, Johnny. Make sense?
Okay. Yep. All right, everybody, plug your ears. If you don't care about the back end matrix, this is a time when you can tune out. But Junior, I will say, has 24 hours more experience with this tool that we're about to share with you than anybody else. So he's ahead of you. What's actually happening under the hood when you upload these massive files into notebooks and such?
Yeah, so guys, I think Adrian actually hit the nail on the head earlier. Behind the scenes, it's just a really, really impressive RAG database. It's a RAG system. So what it's really doing is it's actually taking your data and chunking it. It chunks it by breaking it up into certain sections. Once it actually breaks up into certain sections, it actually stores it in a vector database. That vector database is just a multidimensional database that actually has spatial relationships to what words mean, and how they relate to each other. So, because it's like a library, when you ask the librarian to go talk about physics, it doesn't go fetch the whole entire library. It goes to the physics section and go pulls that physics book. And if you're talking about, quantum theory, if you're talking about radioactivity, it only pulls in those sections. So behind the scenes, what's really happening is you're feeding it all this data, it's chunking it, breaking it up, indexing it, and then when you're asking questions, it knows exactly where to go to ground it to get that specific piece of information, so that when it's answering you, it always gives you the right answer based on your context, not some hallucination. Make sense, AI Johnny?
So metaphorically, it sounds to me like RAG system is like an actual library. It chunks it down into all these things, puts them up on the shelves, and you start at the card catalog. Card catalog knows where all the books are stored. You go to the card catalog, it'll go pull that book. Then it brings that one book, brings that whole book into memory, and now you can ask anything of that book.
Exactly.
Correct.
You got it.
Okay.
All right. Key takeaways?
All right. Ethically, let's not upload confidential data that we don't own. So here are some creative and business ways you can do this ethically. One, use a messy brain dump voice memo and have Gemini format it into a professional weekly newsletter. I've done that here at Airhead Institute. Attach your company's brand voice guidelines. That's the word I was looking for, the guidelines. If you have it, if you have to rewrite all your website copy to match it, you'll have your guidelines there, and now it's just built into a notebook. Upload customer reviews and ask AI to find the most common emotional pain points. And Junior, what are the tech sides of the takeaways that we can do today?
Yeah, so on the tech side, you can upload complex AI documentation and just have AI generate a fetch request specifically for your need. You can actually drop a message JSON file and ask it to restructure the schema. You can actually feed the entire log messages in because you have a notebook that knows about that schema and application. You can ask really, really important questions. So if you're using an API constantly, just go ahead and drop it in that notebook, and you can always ask questions later. All right, AI Johnny. Does anybody have any questions? We can have time for one question before we actually get to some breaking news. Go ahead,
I've
AI
got one
Johnny.
here.
Yep.
How does Gemini handle conflicting information if I upload two documents that disagree?
So great question. It's just gonna have to pick one, right? So the question is, if you actually have conflicting information, it is going to treat. That's the bad thing about grounding. It takes what you say as fact. So if you give it something that is actually not factual or not true, it's gonna say, hey, what you gave it is actually correct. So I'm just gonna assume it's the right thing and use that as my baseline. So unfortunately, if you give it conflicting information, you're gonna get either a right answer or a random answer. No, depending on your prompt, it could go and figure it out. So you could say, hey, is this image a real image? Is this a deep fake? It will then say, hey, my attention mechanism says this person is not asking me to ground the image in my prompt. It's asking me to do a validation. And then, depending on your prompt, it will now go ahead and try to figure out if this was fake or not. So, depending on your prompt, yeah, Johnny, that's really the answer.
So if I tell it I am married, and then I tell it I am a bachelor, now it's got those two things up in the notepad. Then I ask it, "Am I married?" What's it going to say?
Well, I'm going to assume statistically it's going to say that, oh, you know what? You were married first. Now you're a bachelor. It's going to then make an assumption that you probably got divorced between the time it was written that you were married and now you're a bachelor. So it's going to make an assumption that I think is reasonable here.
Death first. Shout out to Thursday night.
Love it. All right, yeah, Jenny, let's get to some huge news.
Okay, the breaking news, breaking big news. If you're here today, Google I/O is happening right now. So make sure you go to io.google to check out the news announcements Google is dropping about the future of their AI ecosystem. I think what we're saying here is that everything that we've been teaching you for the last couple of years, while that may form a good foundation, you're about to relearn everything with newer, powerful, better, sexier tools. Is that a good
Yeah,
way to say it?
definitely, definitely. So excited, yeah, Johnny.
The trial of the decade is officially over. I don't even want to keep reading. The massive lawsuit filed by Elon Musk has been dismissed. The judge ruled that the statute of limitation was 3 years and Musk simply waited too long to file his claim. Did that really happen?
Yeah, it's just sad. The jury came back and they were like, you know what? Past the statute of limitation. The statute of limitation is 3 years. So, unfortunately, justice did not prevail. It's if, if 3 years he didn't get sued, I guess it's fine. I guess it's okay. I'm a little upset right now, but I guess that's the way the cookie crumbles. Yeah, Johnny.
Is there an appeal process or is it just over?
The good thing about statute of limitation now, I want to make sure that I'm actually for statute of limitation, so I don't want to say that we should not have it. But statute of limitation gives a person the ability to have a free life, assuming that they don't have to keep looking over their shoulder for something that they've done wrong. So let's say, for example, AI Johnny, let's pretend that you were a bad teenager and you actually stole, something from a grocery store when you were, say, for example, 15. If a statute of limitation says that, hey, after 3 years, we're not going to come after you for the candy you stole when you're 15 years old, when you're 40 years old, the statute of limitation protects those scenarios. So I do understand it. I may not like it, but I do understand it. And I definitely want to make sure that we actually keep those principles. So if statute of limitation was 3 years and must waited too long, unfortunately, that's the way it is. You can't go after somebody based on the statute of limitation.
Is it the statute of limitation or statute of limitation?
Statute.
I think it's statute.
No. All right, Johnny. Yeah, Johnny, come on, let's go. Next one. Last one.
All right, we're doing more news. The new open source model are closing the gap. Several localized large language models were released this week that rival proprietary models in coding benchmarks. Oh, that's great. Proving the open source community is moving faster than ever. I could use that because I'm already filling up a context window in the software development that I'm doing. So I'm looking for a new version. I'm literally right after the show going to upload all my old meeting notes and have Gemini tell me what I forgot to do last month. And hey, the team at Google, you know we're watching. Our students are hungry to master Gemini. So if you want to partner with Airhead Institute to create the ultimate Mastering Gemini series right after Google I/O, we're here. Don't forget about tomorrow. We're diving into the hardware hustle, the massive cost of AI compute. Do we have a minute to go in and tell folks about the summer school, which is at airheadinstitute.com?
Let's go.
Bring it up. So for those of you that have been with us, you know that we've been teaching this stuff for a long time. We now have an upgrade ourselves. We're now offering summer school starting on June 1st. They're week-long classes. They start on Monday, they end on Friday. You get an hour of instruction just like you're getting here, and then an hour of hands-on. Following the hands-on goes certification and testing. And every week, you will be tested on 100 different distinctions that we teach that week and that you've had some hands-on experience with, and you'll pass the test. You'll get a new belt every week, and after you pass a course, and each week is a new course, you'll get a certification saying that you've been certified in that. If you go look at our actual school, do you have the ordering form on there, Junior?
Yep, I'll drop it in the link.
Okay, it's just airheadinstitute.com, and then just choose enroll, and you'll see all the different weeks. You can cherry pick whatever weeks you want, or you can use all the weeks. We have a special deal for that. And that's the that's the AI Summer School. We're looking forward to all of you joining us for that in June and July of this year. And finally, thanks for if you want to level up, sign up for a free account and RSVP all of our shows and get reminders at airheadinstitute.ai. Junior, take it from here.
All right, guys, thanks for joining us as usual. Everybody, just as a reminder, if you want to level up, sign up for a free account at airheadinstitute.ai. And parents, again, as AI Johnny mentioned, we are launching the Airhead Summer School. Learn AI for 2 hours per day. It's only $100 per week. And for the entire summer, all of June and July, it's $500. You come anytime you want. Pick and choose your 9 weeks, as I mentioned, and like, share, and follow us on all socials and spread the word. Thank you, guys. Catch you guys in the next one. Bye.
That wraps up today's AI Power Up. If you joined late or you're new here, welcome to Airhead Institute. This is your daily destination for mastering artificial intelligence. We designed this lineup for everyone, whether you're a technical pro looking to upskill or you just want to chill and learn something new on your lunch break, we've got you covered. Our classes evolve every single month, so you're always on the cutting edge. And the best part? It's totally free to join. Once you're in, you can get live tips on your AI projects in our AI office hours and even enroll your kids in our Airhead After School program. Scan the QR code to join the community right now and make sure to like and subscribe at Airhead Institute on all socials. Guided by your hosts AI Junior and AI Johnny, we're here to help you win. Remember, AI won't take your job, but someone who knows how to use AI will. Don't get left behind. We'll see you next class. Bring a friend.